Hello and welcome back to Speak American. My name is Austin, and today I'm going to be telling the story of how, while I was living in Marseille, France, I was walking home from a bar one night and I was basically tackled by 4 policemen and then questioned and then sent home. But what's crazy about the story is that I actually predicted that this would happen just a few seconds before it did. And I had everything prepared and was able to handle the situation really well because I had this kind of crazy either coincidence or mystical foresight right before. And so I will start from the beginning. I was living in Marseille, France, where I was at for 3 semesters as part of a study abroad program through my home university, where I got part of my degree from a business school in the south of France. Marseille, for those of you who don't know, is the second largest city in France. It is in the south, so it's about 3 hours south of Paris with like the fast train. It is very close to Nice and Monaco. It's about an hour and a half bus ride between those two places, and it's a very unique port city. It's got so much beauty, but it also is kind of a rough place. Like it's dirty and it's grimy, and there's rats, and there's a very, very big mix of peoples living there, not necessarily all from the same culture. And so it has a lot of diversity in terms of like income and culture, and just how well the city is kept up in some places. Like Marseille is a city where buildings like fall down sometimes. Like while we were living there, like a building fell down and killed a bunch of people. And it's crazy. It's just run down and rubbly in some places. And anyway, Viewport is the old port, and it's also kind of like the downtown where the bars are and where people go for a night out. There is a specific bar there called Shamrock, which is the Irish pub, which means that all of the travelers and the international students will go there to hang out, just because it's not a great place by any means, but it's what we got, and so everyone would go there. So it was February, and I had been back in Marseille for maybe 3 weeks at this point after winter break. So I'd gone home and seen my family for Christmas, and then I was like, all right, we're back in Marseille. And it was so very cold. And luckily, while I was back home, I had picked up this huge puffy black jacket. Like, it was huge. It had so much fabric like in between. They gave it like it was a down jacket, and so it had just like a ton of puff. So it was huge. It made me look way more massive than I actually am. And so I was wearing this jacket that night, and I had gone to the bars alone because my roommate had something else going on that night. And I lived probably about 15 to 20 minutes walking from this downtown bar area, and it was pretty much a straight shot. I don't know if you guys can hear, but my dog is drinking some water over there. That's the luxury of having this microphone that just picks up everything. Anyway, I was walking home, and it's pretty much a straight shot. It's one of the main roads in Marseille. It's called Canebier, and there are shops on the sides, and there's like spice markets and everything, like grocery stores. It's a pretty relatively main road in Marseille, and so it's not like this is back alleys or anything, but still you would see the most ridiculous crap happen even just on the main streets in Marseille. So you never like truly felt comfortable in this part of town. I also lived in a part of town that wasn't necessarily like crazy unsafe, but it was very close to the train station and also closer to some neighborhoods that might have been more rough. And so I think we were in very much of a transition zone in the city, going from like this nicer downtown area into more of the like the rougher part of the city, perhaps. And so we would often run into things that were a little suspect on the way home. This night I'm walking home, and I was coming from the bar, so I'd had a few drinks. I wasn't like drunk, but I was a little bit buzzed because I had been drinking and hanging out with people. And so I'm walking, and I'm about halfway home, and I'm to this corner that goes from the main street to this other main road that goes to the train station. And right before I hit that corner, a police car goes by, and its sirens are on. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's crazy. But then, my mind was just wandering, and I was thinking, in a scenario where I would be stopped by police right now and questioned in French, what exactly would I say to get out of the situation and make myself understood and communicate properly to any police questioning, from French police. And so as I'm thinking this, I'm just like, I was just going through this scenario in my head, and all of a sudden I'm taken from behind, like by incredible force. I'm pushed forward, I'm pushed against the wall, kind of brought to the ground, not fully to the ground, but just kind of brought to my knees a little bit, and then dragged back up and pressed firmly to the side of one of the buildings by 4 just huge, jacked French policemen. And I think for a lot of people this would put them in a state of shock, but for whatever reason, because I had just thought about this exact scenario, I had already gone through in my head exactly what I was going to say. And so I was able to answer all of their questions and say, like, hey, listen, like, I'm a student, do what you need to do. Like, I'm I don't have anything. I'm more than willing to cooperate. And I was just incredibly calm. Like, I don't remember my heartbeat raising at all during this scenario. It was almost like as if I had been training for this and this was just like a routine drill. And I think it kind of freaked the guys out a little bit, because after they had done, like, they were like patting me down and they had explained that I had matched the description of someone they were looking for who had a gun and was walking around, which is crazy because I was just wearing a black jacket. Like, I was like a white guy walking around with a black jacket on. So I feel like a lot of people would have matched that description. But anyway, they were like, okay, we're sorry that this happened to you. Are you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. It's all good. Like, you guys are doing your job. It's chill. And they were like, okay, cool. Have a good night. And they kind of went their way and I went my way. And I was just completely unfazed by this. Like, this was not a traumatic experience for me at all, because I had literally gone through this exact scenario moments before it would happen. Like, it was like I was on autopilot. Like, I was a robot just giving responses and being like, yep, I'm a student. I go to school here. Nope, I'm just going home. Nope, I don't have anything. Yep, you can check whatever you want. And so the part of being about being tackled, is crazy. But for me, the crazier part is that I did have this foresight, so being able to look into the future and imagine this happening. But I don't think that this was one of those moments. So here's where I'm kind of caught, right? Because, you could have one philosophy where you could say, oh, I had this moment where I was like, present with the universe and I was just like totally in tune, and it was like a deja vu thing. And it's like, oh, like exactly what you're supposed to do, because like at this moment you were just like, you and the universe were just, smushed together, and it was like bliss. But I think that I'm going to continue to believe that there's nothing mystical about this. There was no, higher power influence, or the universe, the stars didn't align for me. I think that I just think about hypotheticals a lot. It's not uncommon for me to walk somewhere and be like, oh, what would happen, if this car door opened and this person tried to fight me? Or like, what would happen if I just punched this person in the face? Like, what would the series of events be? So I'm just in a habit of working out hypotheticals. And I think it was just this crazy coincidence where I had imagined a scenario, as I routinely would do, and it had happened like right in sequence. So yeah, that is the story of how I was tackled in Marseille by police coming home from the bars one night. Immediately afterwards, I called my mom and I was like, hey mom, this crazy thing just happened. I was just walking and I was tackled by police. And she was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, is everything fine? That sounds like it was scary. And I was like, no, it just kind of happened. Like, honestly, it might have been a dream. I don't remember it actually happening legitimately. So maybe this whole thing was a dream. I don't know. It wasn't. It really happened, but it was. I definitely didn't feel like it was a real thing. All right, I think I've taken enough of your time. Thank you for watching, or listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.